everybody, this is the What's Your Story podcast with a focus on generative AI. And I welcome everybody to listen in every week as we bring amazing guests from all over the globe, including marketers, people from Google, professors, and how they're using generative AI to make their content that much better. We'll be giving you tips, advice, and how you can use AI in the classroom to make it more effective, for example. Please subscribe to our podcast. We're on YouTube, and also follow us on Spotify and iTunes, and make sure you download and listen to all those podcasts out there. Okay. Anyway, this is the What's Your Story podcast, and we're bringing it to you live here every week. Have a great day. Well, welcome to the What's Your Story podcast, Gen AI version for this fourth season. And I'm thrilled to have an exciting guest here today. Bogdan, he's a AI expert. He works in the area of AI, and he works for a very big firm, but I really can't do it justice. So welcome, Bogdan. And then why don't you give us an understanding of what you're doing, your story, and who you're working for. We're really excited to have you here today. So.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. And I'm happy for being part of your podcast. I would start by saying I'm far from being an AI expert. To be honest, I don't know. Given the speed of AI that's moving today, the term expert is a very elusive goal, but I'm trying to keep up with AI and the developments. But for a quick introduction, I've been all my life a geek, a technologist. I'm a computer science at the back. My background is computer science, and I've been lucky to work in technology consulting, software development, and then slowly moving towards the business consulting part, where you take business goals and merge them with technology to accomplish your business goals. Today, I'm part of an organization that is, I think, at the forefront of what today technology means. It's Kyndryl Canada. I am a consult partner and also responsible for the consulting technology strategy across Canada. And such, I am privileged to work with customers across different industries, from banking to manufacturing to retail. And the topic of AI, because that's what we want to focus today, and Gen AI, and most recently agentic AI, is at top mind of everybody. So I'm looking forward for our conversation today.
Yeah, very good. So you were telling me a little bit of how you work with big organizations and helping them improve their processes, and generative AI is at the forefront of that to help people get work done easier and more efficiently. So why don't you explain a little bit about what you guys do in that area and some of the challenges you're having implementing this with big organizations?
Well, organizations, especially large enterprise organizations, are very much geared towards return on investments. And when you introduce a fluid technology like AI and Gen AI, defining an ROI based on old KPIs, it's very hard. And I would argue it's not the right way to do. So one of the things we help, and I discussed it with CIOs or CTOs, is how do you quantify and define your ROI in a discipline that's new and is changing? So when you think about ROIs in this one of the new emerging patterns are different KPIs like quality deltas. In today's world, the idea of technology debt, it can be very fast addressed with AI. We're not coding today. We're co-coding, if I can use that term, with AI. So technology debt shouldn't be a focus. So that quality deltas, it's a KPI. Rework, how fast and how many times you need to do rework, it's another ROI. Or time to value. We live as technologists in a time where we can try, fail, and try again very fast, to quote Beckett in a way. And AI allows you that. The cost of failing and trying again is very fast. So that time to value, how fast you take an idea, you run it through different iterations until you get a value. It's very, very important. So ROI, it's important how you address these big organizations. And then start and trying to, in all the conversations we have, start with not technology in mind. Start with the goal in mind. What do you want to accomplish? A lot of folks are focusing on technology. What language or large language model do I use? What hyperscaler do I use? It's not that relevant. There's a multitude of models and techniques today to build agentic AI, to have model-to-model conversations, to ingest your proprietary data into the model. But what do you want to accomplish? So start with that. Start with the goal in mind, and technology comes after. The other aspect that I would mention here before moving forward is an educational one. We have, as humans, a hard time acknowledging that we have a partner in dialogue with a machine today, and that machine could be very intelligent. Accuracy, let's leave it aside, but accuracy is also important, and it's more and more accurate, the responses we're getting. So that education, it's important. Allow your employees to play. Allow them to understand what prompting means. Allow them to figure out how you inject different personas. What can you do with Gen AI in general? Obviously, under the umbrella of security. And a lot of the engagements we're seeing today is around how do I secure my enterprise data in such a way that when I layer a Gen AI, an AI, or an agentic AI strategy, I'm not starting leaking my data, and people are now, prompting models, and my corporate data is appearing online.
Yeah, security is a very important one, especially for bigger, as you said, enterprise organizations. They don't want their information out there for their competition to steal or whoever to get hold of it. So can you give us an example of a company you've worked with that efficiently used your platform and your consulting services to really make their business more efficient and help their employees be more inspirational, be more collaborative? That would be really helpful for our guests to understand how you guys work with this and what's the outcome of the things that you're doing.
Probably I will not be able to mention names.
That's
we're
fine.
still
Yeah.
under NDA, but I can absolutely mention examples.
Yes.
And how we're either trying to co-create, it's a term we're using quite a lot, this type of ideas, or we have implemented. So we have different initiatives. We have, let's take the retail space, for example, where by definition, the marketing strategies have evolved quite a lot. And the segmentation and the campaign accuracies are quite high. We introduced, and we're playing with AI to really have a different level of understanding of our customers, clients, and help on the segmentation level, help understand purchase history, behaviors, and more than that, we build a framework, an agentic AI framework, on top of which we're creating agents now to help corporations take out different decisions that they were not necessarily human heavy. You have a pattern and you know how to make decision in your marketing strategy, into your campaign strategy, segmentation strategy. So we have retailers where we implemented that. We have worked with large government organizations where there was a definite interest internationally to understand how AI can help in different levels of government. And we created this framework for them. And now every use case that is being created or envisioned at different departmental levels, we can create them with a framework we build. One thing that us leaders and humans need to kind of understand is this agentic AI wave that we are riding right now looks different than past offerings of SaaS models, for example. When you come and say, I have a Salesforce offering and you demo it, and the agentic AI, once you have a solid framework, it's use case by use case. You can build it very fast. As I said, fail, try again, fail better, learn, build it. And it's not, I have a software offering for you, but I have a framework and I have experience and I can build agents or I can build AI experiences with you. The best case I would give to close the question is ourselves, Kindle. When we 4 years ago starting to reshape ourselves as a separation from IBM, we had a very straight strategy to streamline our internal systems. We did an IT simplifications. We wanted to be cloud only, and a few other criteria we embark on. And we went with Microsoft with Copilot. Today, every document that the company is being created and published internally, secured, it's being consumed by our vector databases, and it's layered by doing a Copilot. And I can have at the tip of my fingers a question every time I have something I would like to understand what my colleagues internationally are doing. We have that implemented. So from an employee perspective, from an efficiency, for understanding what's happening around the world, we're kind of eating our own food by using Gen AI to understand what other colleagues are doing. More than that, we start training our consulting cohort. If you've seen it LinkedIn, there was a lot of posts about that. And we are using AI and avatars to impersonate customers, specific customers with specific needs and specific personas. And we use them in training our own employees, our own consultants, which is much easier because then you can create a use case and it's very playful. It's quite interesting to talk with an avatar like you talk with a client.
Yeah.
So I've been privileged. A few weeks ago, I've been to Chicago to be part of the faculty that kind of delivered one of these waves of training. And Gen AI was forefront there in training our consultants.
Very cool. So there is a company out there called Character.ai, which creates avatars, and people can have conversations with the avatar. These avatars aren't real faces. So is yours somewhat of a image that kind of glows and talks, or is it a real face that will interact with something like a real person?
Well, we used two techniques. Once we took one of our executive leaders in Consult, and we scan his face, and we use that as an avatar. But we also used a fictitious generated image, but it looks real. It talks client, so to speak. So it was very interesting. I would say quite successful.
That's pretty cool. That'd be interesting because I actually interviewed one of the bots on this podcast, and character.ai. I created a character. Her name was Angelica. I gave her a personality and a persona. I actually asked the platform to give her a voice. The voice was that of the movie Her, which is Scarlett Johansson. And she sounds and acts like a real person, but she's not a real person. She's just kind of an image on the screen that glows. And so it'd be interesting to use your platform and create a character and interview that character. It would look real. So that's intriguing. But
Yeah.
now, so is that capable? Is that the capabilities of that platform to be able to do something like that? Or
Well, right now we use this internally
yeah,
only for a few reasons. One, the technology, and we are experimenting to see if real value. So far, it showed value in training. The second one is we wanted to inject a lot of Kyndryl proprietary offerings and techniques. So when the client is responding to a consultant question, can also refer to different other Kyndryl projects or engagements. Some of them public, some of them are not. So right now we are using this for an internal.
internal. Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Now, one of the major concerns right now is ethical concerns with AI, and how do you implement, I guess, systems or processes in place to make sure that you are practicing ethical practices in your development with your AI tools and generative AI tools with your clients?
That is a very good question, and I would love to have the answer that solves all the problems. I can give you my view.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think there is a silver bullet here. I think there's layers that need to be implemented as we go. Um, I would start with um, regulations. I mean, there's a very recent, I think FCC, for example, ruled out AI voice robocall as illegal, so you can't do that. There's some broader anti-impersonation rules that are being put in place for that. It's very hard because more and more the models and the tools are becoming so sophisticated that figuring out where where a deep fake is, for example, versus the real person, where genuine content versus copyrighted content it's very hard. So it has to be, I think, right now, approach from different angles. One, from a legislation point of view, and we've seen some European Union is, I would say, focusing a lot on this one. And in North America, we have a few, but Europeans, I would say, are pushing hard. There's also enterprises that can impose their own ethical rules through training and through filtering. We, for example, we're very clear rules in terms of accessing AI, in terms of uploading documents, so you can ask questions. We're very sensitive on customer client data. There are also, I would say, levels of ethical use where it's acceptable. And I'll give an example. With explicit consent and provenance and disclosure, restoration of old footage in the film industry is, I think it's okay. And one of the great projects I've seen, and I don't know if it's live or not, I think it's going to be released this year, if I'm not mistaken, was a Google project where they took Wizard of Oz and they applied my Google machine just answered, and they applied Gen AI to do a few things. One, enhance the quality of the movie, because this is a 1940 something, Judy Garland movie, but also because it is made for the Sphere in Vegas. You cannot take a small frame and make it big for a Sphere. So they had to reinvent frames around the action, add legs to characters, heads, backgrounds. And obviously those don't exist, but I think ethically it's okay. I mean, there was approvals and stuff, and it's amazing. So that's okay. I was reading actually this morning an article in New York Times about the struggle our colleges and universities in North America have with copywriting and let's call it cheating at exams, because the dean who was interviewed said, we thought by encouraging our students to use Gen AI, ChatGPT, Claude, or different models for self-learning, generating quizzes, being more inquisitive, get synthesized information, failed. And they're using it more to answer our exam questions.
Correct.
And right now, the only way to stop this is to go back to pen and paper, to go back to in-class exams, the traditional, blue book, you open, you write your exam. So that's a different layer where the ethical use of AI, has to be stopped. But it's a question that it's everybody's mind. Right now, a lot of folks are in the corporate world are, for good reason, concerned about data exposure. So that can be done with security, data security, data resilience, and all that. But a day-to-day use, I think it's up to us as well to a certain level.
Yeah, well, I'm a professor as well at George Brown College, and 3 years ago we were quite concerned about AI and generative AI that they were going to just write an exam, or they would write an essay, and it would all be generated by somebody else and not their own thinking. So a lot of professors were, as you said, were trying to fight back and do paper exams and that. But the college made a shift, saying we need to embrace it and find new ways to evaluate that aren't necessarily pen and paper, or the old way of doing it. And so some of the things we do is more practical. For example, we may bring in an organization like Google and do a real life project where Google briefs the students groups. They come back and they pitch. This is a marketing class, obviously, with ideas and programs. And then they actually use AI to help create content, which they're going to do anyway when they get out into the work world. So the reality is we're trying to integrate it into some of our practices, and professors have a choice. So on their course outlines, they can put 3 things. One, this course, you can totally use AI. It's fine. This course, you can use AI when the professor deems it's appropriate, or we do not allow AI in this course. So there's different opportunities. It allows the professors to be flexible. But we also know that giving students the ability to learn how to use AI is really important, because they're going to be using it when they get out into the work world. So it's an important thing as a skill, and we're trying to integrate new ideas. We even have a meeting this afternoon on how are we going to use AI more efficiently in the classroom as a learning tool, as an example.
And I will make maybe a reference to what I mentioned earlier, which is education. I was mentioning employee education, but I think in our colleges and universities, because this is a new discipline, we're used to say our professors know better than us. But there is a point where it's so new that the professors are at the same starting line as everybody else. Now they have a broader understanding of the world, of the domain, so they can filter that. So the challenge is how you educate that faculty body to then pass the use cases, the do's, the don'ts to the student.
No, it's very true. And some are more, I guess, capable of learning technology and using technology. Some are still, the older professors are not, and it becomes a challenge to make it equitable amongst the whole faculty people. Now, one of the other things I wanted to ask you about is you used to be in the digital marketing world and work with agencies and using tools with Gen AI. What are some of those tools, and what are the ones you think have been really effective to help people in digital agencies become more efficient, effective, creating content and everything else?
So, as I mentioned, the discipline evolves every day, and when I was involved with the digital agency world and the marketing brand strategies, and this was maybe a year ago, it doesn't seem so long ago, but
Yeah.
the industry evolved. The focus was content. I mean, Gen AI started as a content generating tool. And the focus still today is a lot on generating content. The refinement that I've seen is now generated more accurate, even real time sometimes, content that relates to your audience, not just generic content. But because the move now, or the industry evolved, the digital agencies now, one, have a challenge between innovation, as in content innovation, and Gen AI. Because if you use Gen AI for everything to generate your content, your campaign, where is that spark that generates the I'm going to buy this product? You kind of level everybody at the same quality, good or bad. So digital agencies are trying to figure out, how do I come with my innovative ideas? So it's a mixture between generating content and doing it my own. I think yesterday, for example, Google released Gemini 2.5 Flash image, which is now, they're saying, I haven't used it, an absolute amazing model to generate images.
Right.
And they're saying the AI that generates the image actually takes into consideration different factors, like even what should be the plant behind this person who is supposed to live in, I don't know, Arizona, so that level of sophistication. So Photoshop from content generation on the marketing won't disappear, but more and more these AI agents are coming to replace that. Where AI also, I think, in the marketing space and the digital agency space can play a role is in the targeting and measurement area, because, as you know, everybody said third-party cookies are in, third-party cookies are out. How do you track all that? So knowing that privacy is still important, how do you implement AI, Gen AI, to still retain or acquire customer information? I think it's very important. In domains where content, and this is a challenge that's still there, where content needs to be validated and approved, like FBI approvals, for example, for drugs. It doesn't matter how fast you create the content. It matters how fast the content can be approved. And those approvals are still human-based. Now they're trying to inject few AI type of tools, but ultimately, because the stakes are so high, you want a human eye on those type of approvals. So I think that's another kind of digital agency type of challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're looking into the future and looking ahead, I guess, what do you think the future of generative AI is going to be? How do you think it's going to evolve in the future?
Um,
If you
Again,
had
if
your
I would
crystal
have that,
ball here,
if I would have that crystal ball, I would be absolutely amazing. Um, I am not a conspiracy theory guy, and because I'm a technologist, I always was the first adopter in crossing the chasm. So I'm always looking at what's new, and I want to use it. There was a paper released in August that basically projected the doom of um, humanity, and it went through a scenario that somehow you can believe it, but it's still far fetched. By 2037, AI will take over the world, and there were different stages. By 2027, AGI is achieved, and then slowly, we are so happy in our world where AI takes over. Our work that we just enjoy new innovations, medicine tremendously fix our human bodies. But by 2037, we are done. So I don't subscribe to that.
okay.
I subscribe to the theory where we have to learn to live with this AI, and there is a social aspect at a very macro level, because if we truly invest, and there's a lot of investment, and you can't stop innovation. The cat is out of the bag. It's going to happen. The humans need to figure out where to set up boundaries. We talk about ethical thing and where we can use it. But if you look at how humans will use this tool, would it be to actually increase the revenue per capita, for example, and you have a much more ethical distribution of revenue in the world? I don't know. It's one aspect. Personally, even today, I use Gen AI to augment my work. I always ask questions, validate my ideas, solicit new ideas. Ultimately, the way I envision computing, because I'm still at the computer science kind of topic, our computers will be more, when you start, I think, will be a prompt, and that's it. You don't have menus, buttons, applications, and that prompt is how you interact with the technology, with the models, and you interact it through a natural language.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to learn Java or Python or other languages, but everything you do, from controlling your computer to browsing your internet to creating a business strategy, would be a prompt.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Be interesting. Well, listen, Bogdan, I want to thank you for joining us today. It's been really intriguing to learn about how your perspective, as well as how your company's been using AI with big organizations, enterprise organizations. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, how would they do that? How would they get a hold of Bogdan or your organization to help them out with their processes and everything else?
And I'm always ready to talk with like-minded people and folks who are in the same quest for understanding technology and how can humanity benefit from that. So I'm Bogdan Nastase. I'm on LinkedIn. Please drop me a note. I'm usually responding. The other one, Kindle.com. You can go and see what we offer in this space, and we're happy to connect.
Very good. Well, thank you again, Bogdan. And this is the What's Your Story podcast. You can find us on Spotify podcast, iTunes podcast, Google podcasts, and many other places. But please hit that subscribe button and like button, and we'll be chatting with you soon. Take care, everybody, and have a great
Thank you,
day.
Rob. Appreciate it. Bye.